modules to making sure they're stepped right into this. So this is the kind of step. So what I need is everybody's attention and PMA and everything to build this up, because we want to make sure the next few weeks of trainings, because there's going to be a couple of weeks where it's only going to be one training in a week because it's getting to the holiday season. As we finish this off, we want to make sure we're getting these trainings tight and on point, and then we can all learn, right? And remember, a lot of the training happens after the training. That's to sit down, learn, find out what Karen's doing, find out what Blair's doing, find out what Anne-Marie's doing, sit down, get some extra time, because that's probably the most important thing. So this is going to be a big, fun couple weeks here, guys. Some of it we will cover, just to kind of go through it. Overview of all the current systems in place. Now, obviously, with new times, we've had to create a new system, and we need to get back on making sure that everybody that comes out of school knows our system, and then it's duplicatable, right? Just so that you guys know, it can work for a certain time, but presentations can't really build what we're going to do. It's conversations. So I was talking to Teresa about this. It's about conversations instead of just presentations. It's building the network. It's getting people to talk about this when you're not there. So it's not just a quick presentation to get a sale. So because guess what's invisible, and maybe over time when times get tough, they cancel it. But conversations, stories like Josie's talking about, facts, you name it. What we're doing here is going to be the conversations, not just presentations. So we're not going to just go up there and just be like, this is the presentation that's going to get me. That's very old school MLM. That's a different game. This is something we need to build up. So it's going to be a bit of both. It's going to be a great presentation, but with some great conversations and networking. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes. Right on. Overview of all resources, and to find out what or who to talk to when. So this is going to be great. This is going to give us a hierarchy of who to talk to and who not to talk to and all that kind of stuff of how it goes. So everybody's learning, so no one's missing out on information. So for example, and we're going to get into this, but really quickly, if you go on the WhatsApp and you ask a question, make sure we're going to ask our SLs first. If you can't get a hold of me, you need a quick answer from the WhatsApp group. You're going to be like, hey guys, just in a meeting right now, need a quick answer. Because the first thing you should do is go research it yourself, right? That's mastering your craft. So you go to it first. You don't want to just be like, because if you just go, hey, what's this question? And then they give you the answer, did you learn it? No. We all know that, right? We all went to school for how many years? I don't remember anything. Yeah. Yeah, so there'll be great people that are, find a clip and where they found it. But here's the thing. We all need to be able to trust one another. So we all need to go out there and making sure that we are mastering our craft. So the first thing you should do is check your own work. If you can't find it, you need to, go to your SL. And if not, you can find another leader. And then if you need a quick response, go to the group. And then you can ask the group. And then the SL will come in there and just confirm it over time and be like, hey, remember when Summer said this and this? Just to confirm that was totally, what Blair said was totally correct. And here's some extra articles to back it up. So that we are all learning at the same pace, right? We all want to be there to make sure the answers are correct. Because if somebody said that there and then it gets flooded with, wins and all that kind of stuff, and it leaves, and somebody's like, oh, that's great. And they go into the next conversation. It wasn't 100% right. Most of the time, it's 90% right, but we just want to make sure there's a line of communication when we're coming in and all that kind of stuff. Make sense with everyone? Absolutely. Awesome. And also, Dana's going to go through a fantastic of where all these resources are, so you can just be like, oh, I go here to find this, right? Calendar, and this and that, and this and that. So a phenomenal training. Don't want to miss any of this stuff, right? Because this is where it's going to help you out moving forward. Deeper look into successful daily habits and activities. This is where we need to know that mastering your craft, you're going to have to go to work, right? Away is the time of somebody's going to come in here and be like, hey, I'm going to work 5 hours a week. It's just not going to work. You'll never succeed at anything with 5 hours a week, right? Over time, there's just nothing, right? And if you're not doing it right, I mean, it's when your work becomes your play and your play becomes your work, it doesn't matter if you're working or playing, right? That's life. So anybody that wants to come in and be like, oh, I just want to work in, 5-10 hours a week, it's going to be a lot harder for them to get on board. I'll tell you that, right? Because those are the questions they're going to be asking. Because we don't need 1,000 agents. We need 100 strong. Everybody can depend on each other. We all have a code right across the board. So we want to make sure that we have the daily habits and activities. So when people come in here, it's a standard that you're going to work every single day. And if you want to create the day where you're like, I don't like working on the weekends, then you don't have to work on the weekends. But those other days, you're going to make up for it because people count on you to make sure you're doing as much as you can do. Make sense with everyone? Yeah. Awesome.
How to get to your next promotion, huge. We're going to make sure you know the steps of what's going to be going on to get to your next promotion. If that is something you want to go through, I think you're always, looking to help hire, recruit, finding the right people. Guys, it's going to get us so much easier to help bring people on board and hire people when we become the best us. Because people are going to be like, how do I get part of this? You guys want to make this great income. You guys always have fun. You have this code of honor. It's a safe place. It's not usual sales office. This is not a usual sales office, if you guys notice, right? In Edmonton and Calgary and across, it's a different type of, we do gratitude. I don't think most sales offices do that right off the get-go, right? And so we are always moving forward into that place, but here, if we become better, people will want to be part of this. Because they're like, well, how do I do it? Well, it's going to take some work, but I can guarantee you can make this kind of income if you want to go do it. Because there's people in the office that do it. So we got to be the trend centers. We got to be the people in the front. So how to get to your next promotion, we're going to go through some trainings on that. And then when you get to the next promotion, what's your roles and responsibilities? And you're willing to take that on. Because as you become a leader, now everybody's a leader in this room. I hope you guys understand that. And on Zoom, everywhere, you're a leader. And I just want to let you guys know this. If you haven't noticed, Janelle's not on today, but she has an appointment with her mom to go to the doctors and stuff like that. So there's a serious reason. She didn't want to post in the group because she didn't want to be, hey guys, I'm not going to make it today kind of thing, right? Because that's not the point of it. But she still texted me just to let me know why she's not on. Because I noticed that she wasn't on. Right?
That she wasn't on it.
She's always on because she knows. And in just in the group, Paige said, I actually texted her because we know that she's here for us, and that's what you need to do. You're a leader. You're being watched at all times. And just understand your impact. If you don't show up, it's like how you do anything is how you do everything. If you don't show up, then how does that happen? Imagine I just didn't show up today. Right? It would never happen. But imagine I did.
We'd think you were dead.
We think you're already dead or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, and then even Dana said, hey, I texted Janelle to make sure that she was okay. Are you having communication problems? Like, what's going on? Internet, Wi-Fi, all that kind of stuff, right? The idea is that we know that because you have to understand that there's a lot of flaky people out there, and that's not what this office is about. That's not what this district is about. And as we build in more districts, we need to set the standard now, so as it builds and builds and builds, and you guys get to be part of that, and we get to build something that we decide. Not Mark, not RJ, not Ray, not anybody, not Mike, that we decide works and fits. The one thing that we talked about with the sales leaders today, what's cool? Once a month, I didn't mind Monday off. I still worked the whole entire day, but the idea was, but the thing was, it's like, we didn't have to come into the office today or something like that. It just felt good, didn't it? So I think as a District 6, because we get to create our own environment, I think every month we take one. We as a district will find out which week and which day we will take a Monday or a Thursday off once a month. Now, if there's obviously a holiday that month or two, that'll be that one. But if there's other ones, we'll make our own. Does that sound something cool? Have an extra long weekend or something like that. We can focus because we know that we're still going to be out there in the field working and whatnot. But just kind of gives us a little bit of freedom and fun times with it. But that's what we get to create, right across the board. So I'm very excited for these types of things, and we'll have your input for sure. And then goal setting for 2018. We're going to wrap up for this, just a little bit here and there, but you got to be ready to go for 2018. We're going to finish strong this year. I'll talk about the game and where we're at a little bit at the end, but we know that we need to finish this thing strong because that's going to build momentum into January, right? December is sometimes, for some people, the hardest month. It's never been for District 6. We continue that momentum because, there's people at home. There's people free now. Right? This is actually the time to go and visit because this is a lot of fun, as Darlene always says, right? As Janelle says, and Karen and everybody, this is a lot of fun to go out there and really have something that we can actually protect somebody with. So it's fantastic. So goal setting, everything comes around this. And this is our niche. So I want to just touch on this really quickly, guys, and I want everybody to really start getting into this because this is going to become super important of what's going to happen here because this is going to hold you accountable. A lot of times we show people the video in the hiring process, and then they see this code of honor, and I kind of always just say, it's kind of just basic common sense, right? But weirdly enough, common sense is not that common out there anymore.
It's really weird, and it's a lot of fun to like, really, did that person just say that? But the idea is that if we have this code of honor, people will come in droves to come here to work here, because this is a very good peace of mind of what we have that keeps everybody safe, keeps everybody accountable, and honestly just makes you a better person. Because if it's client first, team second, individual third, it takes away everything else out there. But we need to all come in together, because there's a lot of teams in this company and stuff like that that don't have a code of honor, that it's focused on something different at first, right? So, coming from, I know, an MLM industry, that's opportunity first. Grab anybody, take anybody, do that kind of thing. It doesn't make sense. People have to go to school for 3 weeks. You don't want to take anybody and put them through that and then being like, wow, can I get my 400? Right? That's not what this business is. This code of honor means every single person in our team, up, down, left, right, is accountable to what this is, and this is going to be something moving forward. So I just want to let you guys know this is going to separate us from every other team. It might take us longer, but I guarantee you that first we'll start noticing things where, instead of being like, hey, Mark, you're a piece of junk, you couldn't have said that. Obviously, you wouldn't say that to me, but maybe you would. At the same time, you could just be like, hey, Mark, you know what? Where were you being on the code today? Were you being a 1, 2, or 3? That's it. Let me self-realize where it is, right? And let that person. So this is not a call-out session like, hey, Sam, I got something to tell you about. Where are you on the code, right? You got to make sure that you're on the code by saying the code, right? Like, it's going to be a great place, but over time, it will fix it, because people start to know the common standards of what this office is about. And it'll be you'll know when you're being out of line. Because there's sometimes that I'm like, I was being out of code. I was being individual today. Because no one's perfect, right? And as leaders and everybody in this room, you're going to put yourself out there. You're going to find out more about yourself. And you're like, that's a pity party, and that's on me, right? So it's a great awareness, but this is what's going to get us the strength. So we're not going to base it on opportunity. We're going to base it on a great place to come, feel safe, work hard, and have a great time and a great life, and you can set your own schedule. If you want to go away for 2 weeks, you go away for 2 weeks. We'll handle your clients. That's what this district is about. If you go as a sales leader, we will handle your team. If you want to go as a district leader in the future, another district can come in there and make sure everything's set up, because the systems are all the same right across the board. We're selling, we're building, we got the back end all done the exact same way, so that you can actually go away for a month. So we have that protection, but we all have to buy into this. So over the next few weeks, you're going to get this. And if somebody doesn't want to be on this, all right. Well, I'm talking a lot today. No big surprise there. Invisible to power. So this is how we're going to continue to do this thing right up the track. I mean, some people have seen this before. This is a great for any business moving forward. When you start a new business or you start anything out there, you want to have some guidelines of where you're at, what you're doing, and where you're stuck, and if you're stuck, and where you have to go and get back down there, right? Because you can't just be like, I arrived. I got a couple great sales. I've arrived. How come no one's calling me? What's going on? Well, because you're probably being in 1, 2, and a number 3 on that, right? So invisible to power, we're going to go through the steps here, but this is what we're going to be talking about over the next couple months of training. So we're going to get great trainings from every single person that's going to be in their skill set. That's going to help you get better to get up to what we want to do is get up to power. Sound good? Right on, right on. So how to create awareness for any business, any time, anywhere, and any economy. So again, one of the best things about us here is that insurance might not be the thing that you came out here to be in life. You never woke up and like, I can't wait to be in insurance, right? Out in the cold of Edmonton, Alberta. You probably want to be in Hawaii, rich, famous, all that kind of fun stuff, right? The idea is that we're here, but we need to become the best us so that you can take this skill set, if you choose in the future, and move to the Bahamas and open up something there, and you have use the exact same skill set, how to network, how to grow, how to build, know exactly the steps, what you need to go do, because it's going to take work no matter what you do in life, right? So if we can make it happen here in insurance, I'm telling you, there's nothing that pays like this, right? I talk to a lot of insurance people, nothing pays in 2 weeks, and guess when the agent comes, it's going to pay maybe that week. That's going to be phenomenal, right? Maybe even that day. It's going to change the game for everyone, right? So get excited for what's going to happen here. So as we go through this, we have invisible. So everybody starts out as invisible. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past. I like what Gary Vee said, and this is kind of a hit home. He goes, it doesn't matter what I did in the past. It doesn't matter that I made this much money 5 years ago, 2 years ago, this and that. It goes, it matters what I've done yesterday, today, and tomorrow, of who I am right now. So that's where everybody starts. So when we started out this with Sam, RJ, and Dan, we had no idea what we're doing. We're invisible. No one knows what we're doing in insurance, and we had nothing to really stand on in that, other than we knew that there's something here, and let's go at it. And we failed a lot forward. At the same time, we debriefed every single day. What worked, what didn't work, what could get better? What worked, what didn't work, what could get better? And we put in the hours. And we went on to Indeed, just to let you know. So if anybody's like, oh, I just go on Indeed. We tried to hire, we did like 7 to 10 to 20 interviews a day. And, you know, I remember in the Radisson, just parked there. RJ was triple booking because people wouldn't show up. Triple booking an interview, just for the idea of it, right? We tried everything. We got in so much trouble on Indeed that we actually got blocked from it because RJ was trying to find some extra ways to get people to come out. But we saw hundreds and hundreds of people. But that's a lot of people out there that were just looking for a quick buck and stuff. And we found out the hard way about that. So we can say, hey, this doesn't work. Let's move forward. That's why we're looking for quality, great people, and finding them. You'll find them by you becoming great. You'll attract these people into your life. I promise you that. But when you start out in this business, you're invisible. No one knows that you started this. So even this, if I go to my sister, hey, Jenny, you need to buy insurance because I said so, she might buy it, but she's never going to tell anybody about it. So I have to start off and like, hey, Jenny, I just started my new career in insurance. Do you mind if I stop by and show you what it is? If it's for you, great. If not, don't worry about it. What's more important is maybe you can point me in a direction to help my business at the get-go. You'll probably love to, once you see this, you're going to know a bunch of people about this. I'm actually excited to show you. Is that a lot better than being like, you got to buy this? Wow. Right? So we're going to make sure we're going through these skill sets of talking to people, because that right there, my sister can give me 5 to 10 referrals. And then when I leave my sister, because you know what my sister sees me as? Not an insurance agent. She sees me as her brother. Right? That's as simple as that. That's, what do you mean you're insurance now? Oh, what's next week, Mark? Right? You know, like that's the kind of thing. But it's my career and I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to show you. But if I can use your help, because your friends and family, that's your warm market, that's your hot market, always want to help. They always want to be there to help. They always want to be there, to help you move, they'll help you do things, but they do not want to be sold. Because then they think you're trying to get something out of them and they don't want that. So let's be smart about it. Let's be logical. How can we get them on our side? So instead of getting my sister and her mad at me and just getting, to pay for it just because of that, I can now go to her 5 friends, and guess what? With her 5 friends or 5 people that she knows that I could go help. Now what am I? When I go to see them, what am I? I'm a professional. They don't know I just started. So I'm going to be ready. I'm going to make sure I'm practiced. I'm going to make sure I'm confident, trustworthy, and likable, so I can wow them, so I can get to their networks, because that's how it's going to build. But I'm going in there in a way better way than just stopping at my sister and talking to these people, because you can know thousands of people, but it will eventually run out if that's how you're doing this. But you could know 20 people, and this thing could build, and that is duplicatable. Right? So that's why we have to have systems. So invisible, the number one thing you need to understand here when you first start out is to be trainable and coachable. You need to be like, okay, what do I need to do? Paige is like, you need to go through all your policies, you need to learn all this stuff as much as possible, know as much as you possibly can right now, because invisible is a place where you're not going to make a whole lot of money. You're brand new in the game. No one sees you as a professional yet. So this is the time to be open, to be sharing, to helping, to making sure you're showing up every single time, because this is the biggest growing stage. You don't make the most here. You make the most at the top. But this is the toughest part, because now you need to become visible. So you need to get your name out there. You need to get people in this office to know and count on you, right? Everybody knows Janelle. She's out in there, Victoria. Some people didn't meet her until she came to Calgary. But everybody knows who she is, because she's out there every time, sharing, being the best her, learning, growing, knowing that she needs to be in field every single week, because she goes, you know what she says? She goes, I need to be in field every week because I need to be protecting people, so everybody knows that I'm contributing to this team. Because she knows that she could be forgotten if she just didn't do anything, 100%, because she's out there by herself. So she has to take that extra step, right? So invisible is going out there, sharing, being helpful, learning from all the leaders, sticking around a little bit longer,
talking to your friends and sharing things, being extra helpful for them in their businesses, networking, going to a lot of networking events. Hey, let me know how can I help you? How can I show value to them? And then in return, they're going to ask you what you do. I know there's a lot of networking groups being started up like that. This is when you can start to becoming this way. But at the same time, there's a lot of steps here where you need to start knowing your product, knowing the insurance industry, study every single day. I mean, you heard Audrey, you heard Dan. Dan used to work 2 jobs when he first started, and every night when he was at his job, funny enough, right, he would just study the Big Blue, study the underwriting, so that when he knew when he was ready, he's going to be ready. And you always have to be following up and touching on that, right? Make sense with everyone? That's invisible. Next thing you know is getting to emergence. This is when people start to find out that, hey, you're serious about this, right? This person is not just quit after the first week. They really want to become an insurance agent. They've taken the steps. They've been trainable and coachable. They're building this up. Your friends and family start actually referring a couple people to you because they're like, yeah, that's what Darlene does. That's what Paige does. Oh, and then like the Stitches guy and all that kind of stuff. They start finding out, oh, is that what Paige does? This is that kind of thing where you start to emerge yourself in the industry. You're starting to brand yourself a little bit. People are knowing that you are a professional. First, you have to become a professional before you become a brand. You have to understand that, right? Because this is insurance. This is like lawyer. This is like that kind of lawyer, accountant kind of level. So you have to know that it comes with a lot of responsibility. You're in finance. We're going to have seg funds. We're going to, we have life insurance. We're going to have a lot of great new products coming on board, especially with how these guys run their products. It's very black and white. But this is where you have to become that person out there to a lot of people. Does that make sense with everyone? So this is the extra work. And this is not the time to be like, okay, this is where I'm going to start paying off my old debts and everything. No, this is still a tough time. This is where you start to making sure that you can get a steady paycheck, start building this thing, start learning how to do it, knowing consistency every single day, every single week you're doing the same things, building it up, understanding that this is what the business is, showing up, going above and beyond for everybody. And this is not the time to start, I'm going to go on vacation now, right? This is time to buckle down, right? So again, I said, when people come in and get an interview now, I'm going to ask them how many hours they want to work. And if they're like, well, I'll just give it a try. There's no try here. There's no more try, not with this team. So we need people to make sure they're going through emergence. Sound good with everyone?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to get a lot of great trainings on all these things of, how to get uninvisible. Did I make up a word there? I'm sorry about that. And how to get to emergence. Because there's agents in this office that have got to emergence, right? And then the next level here is stability. This is where, we definitely want to, to get to is that people start knowing. Probably takes about 6 months minimum, but a year to a year and a half of when people start to know that you are serious about this. Remember, and this is you going through these 2 steps to get here. You can't go from here to here. You can't be like, I arrived. You have to start invisible. Sam can contest to it. We didn't know what we were doing. We opened up an office with making $0. We're actually in the negative somehow. It wasn't the best logical play, but we knew that we had to go. And at the same time, RJ and Sam already had a plan trip from like 6 months or a year before that, before we even started, to go to Hawaii. And they're like, you want the office now? I'm like, ugh. Right? And we were running 4 trainings a week. And we had to figure it out, but we got visible. That makes sense. Emergence. So if people are starting to find out about Combined, they're not finding about it from other teams. They're finding about it from us, right? Because we're starting to go out there and talking to a lot of business and doing it the right way. And each week we're getting better and better with all that. Stability. This is where you want to be. Consistent every single time. You start to know when you're going to get a consistent paycheck. I would say you have to be in field as an agent. You're going to be 2 to 3 out of the 4 every month. This is where you're going to get a consistent paycheck every single week. And that's the beautiful thing. So you got a great income starting to come in. You're starting to, feel really crafted. People start talking about you. They know when you go to a networking event, they're like, oh, that is Darlene. Oh, that is Dana. Oh, that is Sam. Oh, that is Anne-Marie. Oh, that is Diane. They start to recognize you guys right across the board because you are that professional. At the same time, we all know this, that you get a little, we get a little comfortable, right? Right? And that's the thing, is we get a little comfortable, and we're like, oh, I've arrived. I'm stable, right? That's what I've been shooting for my whole life. I just wanted to be stable, right? Then your ego jumps up, and you're like, oh, I've made it. I've done all this kind of stuff. You can go back down to emergency, which takes you back down to invisible. It's a constant growth for any business. So again, I talk about in the past, my buddy opened up an Extreme PETA. And he goes, boom, I opened it up. Mark, I'm not making any money. Because he just opened up a front, and that's what he thought it was. People would just run through the door. I can't wait to have a pita, all that kind of stuff. People, there's thousands of restaurants and stores and different things now. There's 20 different pita places. There's 20 different this. There's 20 different that. Why are they going to come to your store? Well, I'm the only one in the area. Perfect. Does anybody even know? Because he's invisible. He might have the signage up front, but he's invisible. So we went door to door, business to business, giving out buy one, get one free, or sometimes 50% off, all that kind of stuff. And I said, the only thing you need to do is that let's check out your staff and making sure your staff is ready to be trustworthy, confident, and likable. Because why are they going to come back? You ever go to like a restaurant and they're just like, next, next, and they get your order wrong and all that kind of stuff? You don't go back. You don't want to go back. Unless it's dirt cheap or something like that, right? The only idea is that when they come in, they're going to pay $8 for a wrap. It better be the best experience ever. And that's what he made sure that culture is the same. That's the same with us. We're not here just to sell them and be like, insurance, I'm super boring here. We got to get this as official. We have products that are actually fun to talk about. So let's have fun and talk about them, but at the same time, it is a very serious industry. So we got to stay back up to stability, and that's where this guy started getting that way. But it's the same business. He gets into emergency, starts getting his name, but does that mean he just goes, all right, sweet, I'm going to take vacation? No, guys, businesses, people they don't make money in their first years. As your business right now, you can make an extraordinary amount of profit because your overhead is, you don't have an office yet. You don't have anything, you know what I mean? Like your overhead is just paying taxes pretty much, making sure you hold that, right? We'll definitely do trainings on that too. But emergence to stability, it's the same thing in any type of business. So understand here at the same time, as an agent, you are starting to become a brand. You found your niche. People start knowing who you are. At the same time here, side thing, this is where you can start becoming an SL. Start building a team. This whole time, you could be recruiting people, finding people, all that kind of stuff. But when you're stability, now you can actually know because you've got here, you can go out there and help these people do the same thing. And you can't hire 10 people at the same time, but over time, you're going to have your sales leader during this time help train the people, and then when you go sales leader, they're going to come with you. So with Dan, he had Heather and Grant and Glenn and all that kind of stuff. They were already trained, or Heather's been trained by the whole D6. I'm Mark on RJ, the whole D6, learning, coming and growing and doing all these things. So she's ready to go. Does he have to, teach her how to do certain things? No, he can always help and add value to it, but that's the power of the system and the D6. So that as you're building to sales leader, as you're getting stronger and knowing all these types of things, you have your sales leader coming in there and building them at the same time as you are there paying attention and learning. You don't be like, handle it, all have arrived, right? You don't do that. You work with them, right? You find out, you grow, you move forward as you continue to go here, but this is where you can start to become a sales leader because again, the standard in D6, we want sales leaders here making a minimum 100 to 250,000 a year. And that is great because that's on you and that's on your own time. And the reason why we can do this is because we have people that have done it. So that's how we know we can do it. Okay? So we're not just saying, in theory, this is what we know, this is how we failed at it, this is how we've grown from it, and this is how we can get you to here as fast as possible. I don't like to always talk about, it's not always about money, but the thing is that money means, one, you're saving lives, right? Because they're staying on the books, because they're always protected. And it also gives you, it's a tool, more importantly, that you can go and do the things for your family and the things that you want to do. Remember we talked about the plan a couple weeks ago? It's not about money, but the money can get you to the things that you want to go do in life. We can't ignore it, right? We have to understand that who wouldn't mind making a couple $100,000 a year? No, okay. No, everybody put their hand up, obviously, but it makes sense, right? Or even $100,000 a year or $50,000 a year. It's up to you. It's your business. But at the same time, you're going to have to put in the work to be part of this ongoing team. So after that, you get to abundance. What? This sounds funner, right? Dana's like, this sounds a lot funner than stability, right? Yeah. No, it's great though, but this is abundance, right? Abundance is when you're starting to really know, so we'll go on the agent portal right now. This is where people are starting to know you as a household name in insurance. And the cool thing is that everybody else in insurance right now is doing life and seg funds. You have WFG.
You've got all those other network marketing ones, and then you've got every other brokerage in the city is doing life, a little bit of CI, seg funds, and disability that really doesn't work, in my mind, right? But they do have some great stuff for certain people that can afford it, but they're only attacking the top 20%. They cannot get to the rest of the 80% that we can, because the products we have are for everyday use. So that's a cool thing. So people start knowing that you are this person. This is where you have your brand, the Stitches guy, you know, the mother protector, all these different types of things that you are. Trust me, it'll work. But whatever it is, it's simple as that. Like, hey, see, people laughed. It's money. At the end of the day, abundance is for people to start knowing you as an agent, that you are trustworthy, confident, and you're likable, and people want to do business with you. When you walk in a networking room, they know who you are and what you do. You're starting to get an abundance. Now again here, this is not the time, but this is the time to actually start paying off your bills, start paying off your debts and everything like that. Not here. This is where you're dialing in, you're making the work. When you get to here, you start having that future you always wanted. You don't start buying cars and everything down here. You start getting to abundance, and that's when you can start to pay off things and whatnot. Even here, you don't go, oh, I'm going to get a brand new house. You got to already be here and be able to afford it, right? That makes sense with everyone? We're going to make sure we go through these steps so that it doesn't happen. Because I started off in different businesses, and they didn't do anything about that. And next thing you know, you have a $100,000 tax bill, and you're like, "Ugh!" You know, like that's not a fun day, because they didn't teach us that. They just said, you know, it's just for them. But we're here in this team, we're going to make sure people know exactly what to do and how to do it. Sound good? And we got a lot of experts from different people around here, and accountants and whatnot that can help out with that. Awesome. And then here is you're starting to get to DL, right? If you want to go the SL route, the DL, now more responsibilities, right? Now, as you guys understand this, as an agent, you have a lot more freedom, right? As an SL, you have more responsibilities. So it's, how does the saying go? As your responsibilities go up, your rights go down. So what does that mean? Very simple form. People are even watching you even closer, and it's tougher. But here it is. You cannot let anybody down. You can't say one thing and do another. This is where it comes into effect, that now you are what you are, and now your rights go down, but your responsibilities go up. Now you can make more income, but that's where you're at now. So if you don't want to just show up to a training, people are going to notice, oh, how come Mark or a patient show up today? Oh, they didn't feel like it. What? Boom, that's our standard in the ground. Because that's somebody else falling apart, right? Because that's just a goal. They don't have to go, and then the next person's like, oh, I don't have to go. Then the new agent that comes out of the field is like, oh, I'll just do whatever then. Not here.
Well, the more successful you are, the more you're under the microscope.
Exactly.
From everybody around you, and you're held to a higher standard.
As Karen was saying, you're just held to a higher standard. The more successful you get, you're under a microscope. That's just what it is, right? But it comes with responsibilities. So we'll make sure we touch on those things. It's a good thing, though, because it actually, gets you more personal development, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people here love to help and be there for teammates. So that's the power of what we're going to be going to the way. Abundance up to DL. You start making a great income. And then this is where we really want to get to, is power. This is where you are a DL, maybe even an SDL. You start having multiple offices, and this is where you can go build. But this is power, and you've got to have, doesn't mean at any time that you're just like, I'm done. This is where you're helping, getting in there, helping out your DLs, your SLs, making sure they're okay, moving forward progress, right? Everything is so much funner when it's forward progress. Even the stuff that we're going through with Darlene here on this business account, it's great because it's learning and it's getting better. It's not like it's a problem. It's a solution that we're finding to fix it, so that everybody can benefit from it in the future. So I'm just like, as much as I'm like, whatever right now, nope, because it has to happen. It has to happen now, and that's where we'll get paid for years and years and years and years, because we went through this time.
Yeah, because we're all going to run into the same.
We're going to run into the same things, and then you have your new agent that comes in and is like, whoa, why would they need to stumble into that when we went out there and paved the road for it? And you got to know that you are that person, so that somebody else in the future gets to come in here. They might not even say thank you, but you'll know that we got beat up about it, and that's the culture of what this is, because the more people that come on board with us, the bigger we can get and the more lives we can save. So that's how important this is every single time. So up to power, everybody knows who you are. you're either a super DL, or if you just want to be an agent route on this one, this is everybody in the city knows you are that, that top realtor, or that top this person, you're that. You're the brand. You're the niche. I'm talking about that realtor in Summerside where I live. Everybody knows who she is because she's going out there and, she gets so many referrals every single time. And even for myself, I have hundreds of agents and friends I can go to that sell houses. And they get mad at me every time. But I'm like, I need to go to her because she's the number one in the city and the number one in this area. I need to go to her. So that's what you start to build, that kind of brand about yourself. When you want to be that person, people are like, oh, I can't wait to talk to Darlene. I heard she's this, and this. And that's being confident. You got to know your stuff. You got to be on trainings, knowing anything that new comes out, all that kind of stuff. You got to be trustworthy so that they know that you're not just there for a premium, right? The one thing that I'll just, I'll allude right into this, and one of the skill sets we're going to talk about is when you're closing, Dana and Sam talked to Darren Smith. Darren Smith is one of the, top DLs in the company for the last 10 years. Makes crazy amounts on residuals. He's done it old school for years, runs a tight ship, but how he does it at the very end, and Sam explained it and Dana explained it, but we're going to go into even more depth about it, is when you're all done it, he grabs the pad form, pulls the paperwork away a little bit, and goes, just to let you know, right here, this $212 is what you're going to be paying each month. Are you comfortable every single month to pay for this? Because our job is not to just protect you for this month and next month. It might not happen like that. A lot of our policies, if paid once in 7 years, it pays for itself. A lot of our policies out there. But that being said, you might not get hurt or sick or something right now, but it might happen in 7 years. But just that one time pays for it. So how good is it to keep this on the books and make sure, so if you're not comfortable with this for the next days and everything like that, then let's shape it and make sure we find a plan for you. And if they're like, yes, okay, perfect. So the two things that he's done there is, one, he's got them to notice again that this is the premium coming out. So you're not just like, oh, you're 210, and then run out the door, right? Because then they go like this, oh, I don't even, all that kind of stuff, right? So as an agent, we're sitting there making sure that they can afford that and that they're comfortable with that every month. I think it's a phenomenal way. So then the best thing about it is it keeps it on the books. So I'm going to a couple of steps here. It gets cancellations wrong, so it can get you on trips, and it gets your persistency on because they're not canceling in 6th and 7th month, right? We want them to stay on for life, do we not? Yeah. Right across Zoom land, we want these people to stay on for life. And obviously, that means they're protected. That means they show value. That means they trust you. That means they're confident in you. And that's how they're going to stay on the books. At the same time, so you guys know, this company works. The more profit it gets, the more money it gets from the big mother company. The big mother company will give more money once this company starts getting to big profit. So we need people to stay on the books and show it's a profit, because then they just go like this. I just know, trust me, I was in a meeting, that's how it works. But we've got to stay on the books, and that's how powerful we have to be. We're not just here to sign them up. You're here to stick with them, to make sure that they're going to get this, they're not going to cancel, they see comfortable with this, because the best thing about our policy is we can just add, subtract, get it to smaller, and then you can come revisit them again. Right? So we're making sure we fit it to their budget. Does that make sense with everyone? A little side note there. But we're going to get in deep dive on closing and making sure that is, because that's going to help you keep on the books. Right? Then we have other systems with Dana and Sam going there, and the lead cards and you name it, having all these extra ways of keeping the stuff on the books so that we can follow. Because sometimes people, they just switch bank accounts and it goes down. But we're going to be on it as much as possible. Right? So awesome. So does that make sense with everybody today? We're not going to go into too much. I don't even know what time it is. Perfect. So we're right on time. We're just going to play a little video.